This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Nestled in the beautiful expanse of white sandy beaches on Kenya's north coast lie the historic towns of Malindi and Watamu. Malindi is situated at the mouth of the Galana-Sabaki River, while Watamu is found just 20 kilometers south. The area has a rich history, both from the indigenous peoples and settlers from as far as Portugal, Persia and China, who have called the area home from as early as the 8th century. The indigenous people are collectively known as the Mijikenda, meaning the 9 tribes. And one name associated with them that will always stand out is Mekatilili, who is believed to be one of Kenya's earliest freedom fighters. The Swahili culture predominant in the area today was born from the Perso, Arab and Bantu peoples in the area, and the rich and colorful heritage that is found there has contributed not only to the history of the area, but also to Kenya as a whole. So this week on the program, we explore some history of the people in Malindi and Watamu, and also look at some community-based organizations that are working with the local people to better their lives. I'm Beatrice Marshall. Welcome to Talk Africa. As we begin our journey through Malindi, we go back almost 100 years to the time when imperialist nations were colonizing the people of Africa. Among the coastal tribes in Kenya, an unlikely female leader arose. Now, Mekatilili was already in her 40s when she began resisting British colonial rule. And now to tell us more about Mekatilili and a little bit about the history of the area is historian Joseph Mwarandu. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, who was Mekatilili Wamenza?
Mekatilili Wamenza was a Griama woman who was born at a place called Mtsara-Watsatsu. This is in Ganze sub-county. Her really date of birth is not known, but it's supposed to have been in the 1860s, and she may have died in 1930s. And it was traditional at that time for people to conduct trade with Swahili Arabs at a place called Msanganyiko. This is the tributary of River Rare and the Indian Ocean. So one day she went with her brothers to this trading center, and Arab Swahili came in a boat, and one of his brothers called Kitty was captured by the Arab slave traders, and he has never been seen again. So she developed a very aggressive attitude towards strangers.
Tell me about when she began her, the resistance movement. Why did she join the resistance?
She started the resistance movement because the British were trying to recruit the Griama youth to go into the British Carrier Corps. That's one reason. Another one is that the British wanted to establish big plantations at the coast, particularly this area where we are seated now, the Sabaki River Valley. They wanted to make cotton, sisal and rubber plantations here. She was averse to this. And then the British didn't want the Griama to tap palm wine. Now, palm wine was one of those sources of income of the Griama people. And some of the British soldiers used to rape Griama women. So all this she didn't want to see. What happened is she used a tactic that was very strange to be able to tell the menfolk that these people were bad enough. So she started doing what you call Kifudu dance. Now in the Kifudu dance is a dance where the dance is performed when somebody is dead. So she used this as a tactic to attract men, to attract people, to attract members of the public, so that they come to see who is dead. But when they come, they find it is Mekatilili and her group dancing.
So we are sitting here under this baobab tree, and I do understand it has a lot of significance, particularly, you know, for Mekatilili Wamenza and the resistance movement. Tell us about it.
This is a narration that we have not been able to prove as yet. We have not been able to actually verify. But it's said that Mekatilili and Wanjiwamado Kola, who were actually pals in this war against the British, that they came here and they were hiding in this baobab tree. As you know, when the resistance began, the British were seeking to arrest Mekatilili Wamenza. And of course, she went to take cover, and it said that she came here. Whether that's true or not, we have not yet verified that fact. But what happened was, on one occasion, and this was 13th of August 1913, there was a public baraza at Shakahola at a place called Pahwewanje. The British administrative officer, then called Arthur Champion, had gone there to recruit Giriama youth. So when he went there, Mekatilili had gone there very early in the morning with a mother hen with her siblings. So when Arthur Champion wanted now to tell the public that he wanted to recruit the Giriama youth, Mekatilili dared this man, Arthur Champion, to take one of the chicks. Arthur Champion went and did exactly that. The mother hen resisted furiously. And when this happened, Arthur Champion took his pistol and just pulled the trigger and killed the mother hen. Mekatilili understood the drama, and Mekatilili just slapped Arthur Champion to the ground. This caused a lot of confusion. The soldiers who had taken Arthur Champion to that place thought war had broken. And then one of these askaris pulled a trigger and killed a young man, and the war started. That is what we normally know as the first, it was what we call the Giriama Uprising of 1913-1914.
So what is the significance of Mekatilili today, if she were to come back to life, for the ideals that she stood for all those 100 years ago?
She was significant because she was the first person ever to start the independence movement in Kenya. This has been acknowledged by the Mau Mau and the government of Kenya, that she was the first person ever to start independence struggle in Kenya. And this has put her up on the map. And the Mau Mau recognized her as the first commandant of the independence war in Kenya.
So in many ways, Mekatilili Wamenza was ahead of her time, but she was fighting against societal ills of the time. What is the significance of Mekatilili in life today, particularly when it comes to motivation for women leaders?
It must have inspired some of them. Some of them are taking up positions now where we can see them. Like we have the story of the Chief Justice of this country. She's a woman, and she's an inspiration. She can give an example of many ladies or many women in Kenya to be brave enough to take up positions that were otherwise, in quotes, meant for men.
All right, Joseph, thank you very much for your insights. A very interesting story on the life of Mekatilili Wamenza.
Thank you so much.
Malindi and Watamu have evolved over time into modern cities, complete with beautiful beachfront hotels. However, as is the case in many places around the world, as populations have increased, so have socio-economic challenges. In response, community-based organizations have been established, and some are taking a leaf from Mekatilili's book as modern-day women leaders. Now, one of these is Watamu Muungano Connect, a CBO whose focus is supporting children who have been victims of abuse to navigate the justice system and receive counseling. We caught up with Selina Baya, the organization's chairperson, to tell us more. Selina, thank you very much for your time. This is a foster home for abused children. Tell me about the foster home.
Here we have children from single mothers. Normally, these children they are coming from children who are sexually abused. Sometimes are neglected from their parents. It could be mothers neglecting the children or fathers neglecting the children. So when we get these cases, you find sometimes they are coming from a home whereby they cannot afford to take care of both of them, the child and the mother. So they are not getting a chance for them to go to school. So when they come here, we are staying with the children, and then we are letting the mother go to school.
So tell me, how did this foster home start?
We started since 2012 as a group. Then as we were discussing with maybe our fellow ladies, they were like, I have problem in the house, my husband maybe is not providing for the family. So we started saying, how can we help? Because several women had got these problems in their house. So we said we can now start a community-based organization that can help our mothers or our ladies with justice. So we went ahead and registered the CBO.
So tell us about the successes of the foster home.
Most of the cases that we are dealing with, it is following up in court. And for us to say that we have succeeded, we should have maybe some cases that went to judgment. But we have two cases that went to judgment since 2018, and we have many in court. So we are hoping maybe, say, next year, we are going to have many rulings. But also we have success in, we have able to do the awareness in the community, and even if it is not a match that people have, they have the knowledge that neglecting children is not good, or sexually abusing children it is not good. So with the awareness, at least people they have that knowledge.
And that is what I was going to ask you, like how much, because the legal process seems to take very long.
Yeah.
But I was also going to ask you, how much success have you had in terms of, at the community level, in terms of like speaking to individual families and individual families accepting, to change their way of life?
We have some families that they have changed. Like now, with the awareness in the community, with maybe, because if you take somebody to court, even if he will not be jailed, but that following up the cases, maybe you are going for hearing, and so it is like interrupting his activities, and people are like, oh, so and so this did this to that girl, and now you see the police have come, they have arrested him, even if maybe he'll come home because maybe he's out in bond. But people in the community will already have that, that that person is not good. He's the one who pregnanted so and so in that home. So that already it gives him a fear that so what I did, it is not good. And other people, they know that they fear court. They fear court. They fear police. So if you are taken to police, you are taken to court, it is like something that gives us success already before the judgment. And the most difficult part of it, it is our laws in Kenya about children, especially providing for children. There's a very long process. Like you have to get this person, maybe should be working, should maybe have a government job, for them to follow up the cases, their account and whatever. And it is very a big process. Sometimes you need lawyers to intervene, and maybe we don't have. So we just depend on the children department and just local like that, which is very difficult.
So what more do you think needs to be done to, assist yourselves, assist the foster home, assist the community as well?
The legal part, it is like a difficult part for us. We are struggling because most of the cases, they need lawyers. When maybe you find a neglect case, it is very difficult. It needs a lawyer. And also the sexual abuse cases, you find most of the time when you go to court, these people, they fight to have lawyers. And most of these cases, children, sexual abuse children, they are from poor families, so they cannot afford those legal processes. So most of the time, if you have not done the settlement well, you find the case is not moving, so you need a lawyer to intervene. So if we get a lawyer, it will be very nice. And also to have in the community, to have more awareness, like calling the families, calling the parents, and teach them how they can change the way they are living, believing their beliefs that we don't need much education, and also parenting. So we need, if we get that support for teaching the children, teaching the parents how to take care of their children, or how to bring up their children, it will be good, yeah.
Selina, it's such an important thing you're doing for the community. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes,
we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll meet another non-governmental organization working in the area to improve the community's lives.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there. To see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you. All around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London, China Global Television Network. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
The rapid urbanization and growth of the Malindi town has also brought about other difficulties for area residents. Lack of adequate employment, a need for more education and medical facilities are just some of the challenges faced in the area. Community-based organizations have for many years helped residents of Malindi improve diverse aspects of their lives. As we continue our journey throughout the area, we caught up with Atas Ali, the Executive Director of MEDA, who tells us what his organization is doing for the local communities. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. But first of all, I want to hear from you, what exactly is this project?
This project is supported by MEDA. MEDA is Malindi Education Development Association. There is no regular rain fall in this area. And also, there are a lot of cut of trees by the local communities, and there is no replacement or tree planting process. That's why we chose with our partners to come to Magarini and do a lot of awareness about the environmental issues and particularly tree planting. And we support them with energy saving jikos in their homestead and even in the schools around.
So how successful would you say this project is?
We have come to make them aware of the danger of the environment by cutting trees for charcoal purposes and for firewood, but also they should reduce through tree planting culture. So it has, at the beginning it was a challenge, but when we introduced parallel, we were giving the seedlings for timber trees, and also we were giving fruits tree seedlings. So that was a morale encouragement for them to do more tree planting, and we have introduced 4 nurseries in this area, 2 in school setup, primary and secondary, and 2 in community setup. Currently, we have already supported them with 180,000 tree plant seeds.
So your organization has been in existence, MEDA, for around 25 years. What other projects are you engaged in?
As youths, by then, we came together and started the tuition centers, awareness in community, even helping some children to go to secondary school to reduce the dropout rate from primary to secondary and from secondary to tertiary and universities. Through that program, we evolved from tuition centers to bursary to ECD, early childhood development education, and even now we are empowering communities around youth groups, women groups, because MEDA is for Malindi education and development. We have to support the community through this program of environment, through empowerment of a microfinance program like the women group we have just seen this morning, Watamu Women Group. We have empowered our youth, and we don't have seed money, but we connect them through our trainings, through our capacity building to microfinance institutions based in Malindi and Kilifi towns. Apart from that, we have the Cerebral Palsy Center where children with special needs, which they are there, government special needs schools, but the quality is wanting. So we are coming in as community and inviting other donors through MEDA. We help these children to come out of their homes, to remove the stigma and to bring them into our center.
This is Malindi Cerebral Palsy, and we started off 2016 March, and it was just a small number. Now we are about 26 kids and with different kinds of disabilities. We don't like the word disabilities. We know they are able differently, and we deal with, as you can see, they are different. We have autism, we have CP cases, Down syndrome, and spastic.
When do you take the children? How long do they stay here?
We take, the earlier they come, the younger age, the better. But some kids came in very late. So we deal with them according to how we can. And for how long, I cannot say. Because like, there's 2 kids in here that I'm hoping that next year we might be able to take them to normal school. They've been here from 2016.
You're hoping that at some level you'll be able to integrate them into normal school. How does it work?
They're able to read, comprehension, hand and eye coordination is stable. They can fit in. Even their studies will be different compared to the others.
So what sort of challenges do you go through though in the school?
First of all, financial. So I normally do fundraising projects, but with COVID, we were not able to do that.
So this is not a government-run institution?
No, it's a community-based school. And it's difficult to run this institution without funds coming in. With special needs and the therapies, they're expensive. And then we have feeding program. At break time, we feed them fruits, and lunchtime they eat here, which is on, we have special diets for these children.
So what would be your message to the community, to the society, to the children themselves, now that you have been running this center since 2016?
To treat these kids like any other child. This child is special. That's why it's called Special Kid. And the abilities are special, and they're able differently. They are unique. They're very loving. They're very sensible in their own. They're very innocent, and they should embrace them and love them, and not neglect them, and to support them. Like our logo says, "Hold my hand, nijiweze."
Fatima, it's a very special thing you're doing here, and thank you so much for your community service.
Thank you. I love it. I love it.
Aisha, tell me what you do.
Organization yetu ni Watamu Muslim Women Development. It is based with Muslims only and women. Our organization, our aim is to give out loans to these women so that we can empower them and they get benefits. Some do business, some education, others, you can see this is one of our members. Others, they build their houses. People, they build their houses and rent shops a lot of shops. One of our beneficiaries has a son with a tuk-tuk, which is one of the demand in Malindi.
So what made you decide, what made the organization to decide to fund women organizations?
With us Muslims, we are based on riba. Riba is interest, you say. So with us Muslim, interest is not allowed in our religion. So this made us to come with this Watasimu, because Watasimu is free interest. So we came with this at 2010, whereby you have your own loan, but there's no interest in it. If you take 20,000, you get back 20,000. Other groups, they have riba, interest, so it was not allowed with us, so we came with the Watasimu for Muslim women.
How many women do you have in your organization?
Our group is like an umbrella. It consists of 80 women groups. Each group, it has a maximum of 30 members. So roughly it's about 2,500.
Aisha, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I understand you're also having another project that deals with solar power and alternative power sources. Tell me about that.
We thought it's a good idea to give this community an incentive of solar power energy lamps. These lamps, they will help. Currently, they are using the local way of lighting, which is using paraffin, which is not sufficient, and everybody in the family wants it, the father, the mother to eat, to cook, and even the children to study, or the students to study out of school when they're coming back to do homework. So we saw this program of tree planting can go hand by hand by this incentive of giving these solar lamps to the community and the households for them to be motivated. That lamp will be used by the whole household and easy to manage and cheaper to replace.
All right, so I guess when we look at what you've achieved over the last 25 years, I'm sure it hasn't been very easy for you. So what sort of challenges have you faced over time?
Challenges, as usual, the demand is high. The needy students for different programs, bursaries, scholarships, even community empowerment, the livelihood programs. The demand is big, the challenges are many within the community, so we have to keep looking on more and more funding, and that is one of the challenges, of the main challenges.
All right, Mr. Atas, thank you very much. The rich history of the Malindi and Watamu area can only just be touched upon in such a short time. But from the powerful roots of Mekatilili's strength, the communities in the area today are working hard to better their own lives. Community-based organizations are doing their bit to help the people of the area overcome some of the daily challenges they face. However, there is a pronounced need for the government to implement social programs and further development to bring all residents of the area into the 21st century and provide much-needed social support. A big thank you to all our guests for their wonderful insights, and we'd love to hear your feedback through our social media handles on Facebook and Twitter. You can also catch the show on our YouTube playlist to keep the conversation going, and tune in again next week for more Talk Africa. From me, Beatrice Marshall, from the shores of the Indian Ocean in Kenya's Kilifi County, it's goodbye.